Let's start by looking at what came in the case. You've already opened up the case that we sent you, and hopefully you'll find a lot of things. I'm going to show you first. This is an XLR cable. It's about 3 feet, 4 something feet long, 4-ish, 3-ish feet long. XLR is the preferred cable for audio. It's what allows us to use a professional microphone. You see there's a female end and a male end. You'll also see this big microphone, right? So when I refer to the mic, it's this thing. Attached to it is this, this clamp that will screw onto your device. You've got the microphone stand, which will come in two pieces. There's this duck foot that weighs about 10 pounds. I know that because I pulled it out of a case once at the airport, and it saved me 50 bucks. This is the boom, and I'm going to show you how to hook that up to your microphone. It will hold your microphone. So you should see all of those things. You'll also see the zoom. You'll see a little white case like this. We're going to open it in just a second. Maybe a couple of batteries, but if not, before you start recording, you're going to want a pack of maybe 8 of these around. The recorder tends to gobble up batteries, and it's only battery operated. AA batteries, 2As. And then these are your headphones. You're always going to want to record with headphones for a bunch of reasons. You'll know your relationship with the microphone based on how you're hearing it through your headphones. You'll hear basically what the viewer or your listener is going to hear. So now that we have everything, we're going to put it together. First things first, grab the big heavy duck foot and the boom stand. You'll notice here is a ribbed hole, and here's the opposite. There's like a washer that you're going to see here, and you're going to want that washer to be all the way up first, but not super vital. Another important thing, you're going to want when you ultimately record, you're going to want the duck foot, like the toes, the long part pointing towards you, because you have a heavy microphone that's going to be hanging out this way, and it stabilizes it so it doesn't rock. Flip it around, and so you're looking at it like this now. This movable part is in the back, away from you. So now that you've got that all set up, we're going to grab the microphone. You'll notice there's the male end of the XLR adapter, and then there's this little screw end. That's the part you're going to put right onto the top of that Zoom mic, right? They wanted to really be sure that these things are sturdy, because there's a lot of thread there. The nice thing about this stand, it's all kind of modular, and you can tighten down just about any angle of it. So if you feel it wiggling around, just play with the different things you could possibly tighten, and you'll feel it get tighter and nicer. But you see, I've got the microphone screwed on there now, and I'm going to put it down about mouth height, maybe a tiny bit above. You're going to talk straight into it this way, right? And when you do talk on this mic, you're going to want to touch it with your lips. Not to where you're kissing it so much, but occasionally you're going to brush up against it. And you'll hear the difference. For inflection and things like that we're going to go over later when we talk about diction and making a good sound, there are times when you're going to want to lean in. There's times when you're going to want to lean out, because you can really express some like vocal intimacy by leaning in and getting quieter. But for most of us, when we speak or read, right in here is where you want to be. So you're going to adjust it with this thing, get it to the right height. So you're sitting there, it's comfortable. If you needed to reach out further, I'll do it like this. Put it down a little. Put that straight out. And you can loosen this guy and make it go. Depending on how you're going to sit and read or speak, or where your laptop or your book is going to be in relation to the mic, just make it so you're comfortable and that you are kissing it, basically. Sometimes you'll record standing up if it's something short, and we'll go over that when we talk about recording the book and ways to stay alive, or sounding alive. Standing up is definitely one of them. So for purposes of showing you this, I'm gonna do it as if I'm standing and get it right here, okay? All right, the next thing you're gonna do is grab your XLR cable, and you're gonna plug it in right there. See how it'll click and stop. There's this cool little clip on here. You can use it or not, but it looks kind of professional, so you can impress the friends with your cable management. If you just clip it in there, and that's me right there. Now, the next thing you're going to reach for is what we're calling the Zoom. It's a Zoom H4n. Not that that matters, but if you have any questions about it, there are tons of forums and things, and so you can write H4n question. Any other questions, email us or call us, and we'll totally help you set it up. First things first, get your AA batteries. On the back of the H4n, you'll see the little open thing with a thumb notch. Little secret, I learned this probably too late in life, but see the little ribbon that hangs out of the batteries? That goes underneath, making the batteries easy to pop out when you need to. Did you know that? I knew I learned it too late, because I sometimes used to rip the little ribbon off. I didn't know what to do with it. Anyway, so you'll see they're in there, they're right. You'll see a little thing that says stamina on, off. Make sure it's on, not super important, but it'll help your battery life. So once you're clipped in there, you're in. Turning on power is weird on this thing because it's used for field reporters a lot of the time, and you don't want to accidentally turn your recorder on or off when it's in your pocket. So it has to be very intentional. There's a little button right there, or the little slider that says hold, and then it has the universal power symbol. And so what we're going to do is pull down, hold, and it takes about 4 or 5 seconds. Light up, kind of see what starts to happen there on the screen. All sorts of things. Now loading. This loading thing on the H4n could take up to 3-4 minutes. And so it'll say that, it'll have the little hourglass tilting. And so, allow 5 minutes before you panic, but just sit there, no need to push buttons. So now you're loaded, the power is on. You're gonna see that little menu. LR stands for left side, right side for the microphones. We'll talk more about that in a minute. It says no data on there because you don't have a card in there yet. Very important. This is called an SD card. There are different sizes, and you'll probably see different sizes as you work back and forth with your editors and things. But you pop this little thing that says SCHC, I don't know, it's a little cabinet right there. See it? Put your thumbnail in there, pop it open. You're gonna put it in with the side with the missing corner. That's the side that goes in, and the electric stuff, the metal goes down. So like this. Put it in there, and you want to shove. If you don't click it all the way, it'll pop back out. So you're going to click all the way, and then it stays in, and shut it. And it'll take just a minute to load. The card is in, you're ready to go. You'll see a number, right? It'll say SD, It'll say stamina, SD, and they'll have like a time code there. 25 hours, 4 minutes, and 19 seconds. That's how much longer you have to record on this card. And it will count down every time you record. And it'll adjust accordingly. But just so you know, that's what that is. As you start to near the end of that, you should probably start thinking about getting another card or sending that one in or somehow dumping the data. Next thing, you take the other end of this XLR cable and you're going to plug it in. You've got two big holes right there. See, and they fit an XLR. You could, in theory, go 1 or 2 just to make it easy. I go 1. If you had a second mic, like you were recording a podcast or something, you go mic 2. And so what it will do is record 2 separate audio files that then your editor can go and clean things up and change it. It's kind of nice, but it records them in sync. So we've got mic number 1 plugged in. From the get-go, by default, this mic light is on. You're not going to need that mic. This is just, that mic light says that these little guys are going to be recording, this little mic light. But now that you're on microphone 1, you're going to push microphone 1, and both those will light up. And so instead of using the built-in mics, you're using an exterior mic, which will make you sound like a movie star. So here we go. You're in, on. There's one more thing to plug in. I usually, when I'm recording, I'll keep this somewhere in my field of view. Let's say if I'm reading a book or something, or even on a podcast where I might want to have my notes on my laptop or something, I'll keep the zoom a little bit out of my way, but I always want to be able to see the record light on. I want to see that things are moving. But the last thing you need to do is put in your headphones. It's vital, like I said earlier, to use headphones when you record. It's how you understand what your product is. So put the headphones on and plug them in to right. This little guy that says headphone line. Good. You'll also notice that there's a little volume up and down right in there. That volume is for your headphone monitor, so that so you can turn your headphones up or down. Now, you'll notice that even when you plug in your headphones, you're not going to hear yourself. I can't hear myself right now. In order to hear yourself, even before you begin recording, to make sure that you have it right, you're going to press record 1 time. And when that record button starts blinking, that's kind of a test mode where you can listen to yourself and you're not technically recording yet, right? The little time bar is not moving. So remember, blinking is a no-go. When I set this down to record, when I'm ready to go for a podcast or a book, I'll put it in my field of view, but not right in my way. And I can scoot whatever reading material over. I'm in good shape, right? One more thing that I want to check, and this is important. You want to check your levels, and you'll notice here every time I talk that this little line is bouncing. If I talk really loud, I can almost push it all the way to the edge. If I talk quietly, it picks me up just a little bit. In a regular voice, it'll be right around the middle. You want to live right around the middle. If it goes too far, like if it approaches that 0, then your sound is going to break up and it's going to be really bad because that's picking up too much noise. If it doesn't go far enough, you're going to sound really quiet. Again, notice that I can speak really quietly if I'm really close, but if I keep speaking that way and I back off, you're going to understand what's technically happening to your recording, right? All right, so with your blinking button, the last thing you're going to check with those little, the parameters that I just explained, that little gauge that tells you how loud or how soft you are, you're going to want to make sure that at regular voice, right in here, you're hovering right around in the middle, right? Maybe a touch above the middle. Now, how do you control that? There is like a sensitivity measuring device in here, right? And so if I want it to be more sensitive and pick me up more, there's this little record level, REC level, right there on the side, right next to the menu button, right next to where you put your card in. If it's not picking up right now, like if my gauge is too small and way down there, I'm gonna wanna turn my recording level up. And you'll see input 1, 2, level. And as I push up, it'll show you 82, 83, 84. It's a number between 1 and 100. Unless you're very, very quiet, you won't be anywhere around 90. I'm typically on this machine in the high 60s, low 70s, puts me about where I need to be. Also, it's important to understand that this is what you're recording. This is your level of recording. This is what's going on the card, right? Now, what's going into your ear, the level you're hearing, is a different thing. I want to make it so that I can hear it. So if I've been to too many rock and roll concerts or whatever, I can't hear real well, I'm going to take that volume. It's on the opposite side, right by the headphones. You see that? Where it says volume. And I'm going to turn that up a little bit. That's my headphone volume. Again, 1 in 100. It doesn't affect your meter, the input at all. It just affects what you hear. And so if you're kind of a quiet guy and you have it in the middle of the meter, you can turn that up all the way. I typically have mine up pretty high. Anyway, so just put it to whatever's comfortable for you. Once you do that, you are totally ready to record, right? And so you're still blinking there because you've tested out your mic. You push go or you push record, and now it's not blinking anymore, right? I'm recording. Notice the little time code moving. 25, 03, 02, 01, right? Everything up here is moving and the light is staying constant. That's how, when you're recording, you're always going to see that constant light. And you can glance down and things are moving, right? If you feel like something's going weird with your sound, you can't hear yourself well, take a gander at the little monitor. You can change the monitoring level even as you're recording. You see that up and down. You start recording. When you're done, real easy. All you do to stop is push stop. You're done. You'll lose all the sound in your headphones, so you don't need those anymore. If I'm working on a long project, or I'm going to be back tomorrow or later today, I pretty much just leave it all set up. Slap the headphones around here, scoot this back so I can work. I keep everything plugged in, but the only thing I do now is I'll make sure that I shut off the power. Good. And so when I want to come back and do it again, notice totally off, right? When I want to come back the next day or a little bit later and do it again, power goes back on. No need to put the card back in because it's already there and it's already cataloged your last session and put it into a folder so that your editor will have it very easily. When you turn it on again, don't be alarmed, now loading. It will probably take longer to load when you turn it back on than it did the first time, because now you have some data on there that it's got to kind of process and sort through to find out where you are on that card. It might default back to this mic button, or it might just turn off these two, but you want to make sure that these two are what you're recording on, right? So that 1 and 2 are lit up, record, you're good to go. And that's how we do it.